Good morning. Good morning, good morning, good morning. How are you today? Whoop, what? Whoop, whoop. Are y'all keeping it raw and staying rad? We know how to ruffle a little feather here or there, don't we? Oh, y'all sit on the toilet? Do you have a mirror on the other side so you can admire yourself? Smile, give yourself a wink, a nudge. Come on. We're all humble, we're all human, right? We're all humans living in a physical body. And if it wasn't for the human conditioning and that socializing, which has created this so-called normalcy that everybody seems to collectively accepted and never questioned. What is normal? Do you know what normal is? I sure as hell don't feel that I'm normal, and I never want to be categorized or stuck in that little labeled box of normal. Normal just means that everybody else is doing it. How's that feel? You going along to get along? Just saying, keeping it raw, staying rad. I want to be I want to be accepted and identified as uniquely as who I am. Drop the dogma, drop the labels, drop any stigmas, any of that crap. I don't want to be normal. That just means you're going to be caught up in the humdrum, of course, melancholy, because we feel comfortable when it's familiar. We want normal because it makes us feel safe. It's predictable. Not around here. We are changing it up, and we do it for a reason. It's to create the dialogue. It's to get people out of their comfort zones. It's so that you can look within yourself and actually be rubbed, polished like the diamond. You don't grow without a little bit of pressure. You don't expand out of your chrysalis. You cannot become that polished diamond without a little bit of, can I rub you the wrong way? Please, pretty please. If I rub you the wrong way, you're going to have to look within. You can try to say that this outside of you did it to you, but that's victim mentality. And that takes you out of the role of responsibility, takes the responsibility off your shoulders, but it's pointing a finger. You got 3 fingers pointing back whenever you point one finger. Oh, that's humbling, isn't it? And so, therefore, just own it. Be you. You be you, and then you have nothing to worry about. You don't need to explain yourself. You don't need to judge someone else. Yeah, we put some polls out there and we ask questions, but it's to get the dialogue going, because when you ask someone a question, they put it out, it's put out there so that they can actually be confronted with their own stuff. Because the minute you post your opinion, that's your stuff. Shit comes up. And it shows where you're at. The moment you feel like your opinion matters, which, do they really matter? Does my opinion matter? It really doesn't. Does your opinion matter? No. How you feel about yourself, now that matters. How I feel about myself, it matters to me. Right? You be you. Unapologetically, authentically, and be ridiculously you. Right? Ultimately, we did not come into this life to conform. We did not come into this life to make everybody else make us feel better. We came here to just embrace and divinely dance, move through life with ease and grace. Ooh, that felt nice. Don't you get up and dance every once in a while? You just let yourself go. Let yourself flow. Allow. Right? Don't you admit, like when you get in the water, like this is one of the reasons why I'm a water baby and I love to swim and I love to just feel the embrace of this water around my body. It's because it just feels, and again it's fluid, because that's how life should be. It feels nice to just float and feel and move and be, embraced. And just feel the movement within my body and how it moves with the water. It's the same thing in life, but we don't move the same way. A lot of times we're very robotic, we're very conditioned. I was in the military, so I know very well the right way is the straight away, doing things because, we just do them that way. It's just because that's the way they've always done them. We're here to change that. We all came into this life with a purpose and a gift, and the awareness of what it is key, right? And so in my morning practice, one of the things that I was sitting with, identify with what brings you joy, identify with your gifts and your strengths, because that's what you're going to serve with. Eliminate the focus of what you're lacking, what your weaknesses are, because where attention goes, energy flows. If you have a shortcoming or you have faults and all that, I'm serious. You got to shift your attention and bring it back to what your blessings and your gifts are in your life. Because you know what? Again, energy goes where attention goes. So where your attention goes is where the energy is going to flow. You're going to grow that. And that's how appreciation works, is you want to grow something, give it your undivided attention. Focus on what it is that you love, brings you joy, and really lets you shine your essence forth and radiate. When you pick on other people and point out or say, well, I would never do that, so you project and impose yourself on someone, well, you know what? That's because it's not you, but you know what? It's talking all about you. And quite often when we say, that's offensive, that's wrong, when it's done in a tasteful enough manner, because ironically, there's a whole lot of implied sexual content in social media that isn't even naked or playful. It's explicit, and there's a huge difference. And you need to learn to discern for yourself what it is you want in your life, because if you're looking to be offended, you will become offended, because again, that's where your attention is going. So the reason people get offended is because they're looking to be offended, and you may claim you're not, but that's just like the victim mentality. Why does this keep on happening to me? Well, stop thinking about it. Stop focusing on it. Stop telling yourself that same story. Shift your mind and your attention, and it will change, and you will grow. When you put it on what it is that you appreciate and value in your life, that is what will grow in your life, right? Expansion, right? You can expand into what it is you desire or what you don't. And it all comes from within. So wherever you are is what is coming to you. Where you show up, how you show up is what is showing up for you. And so, yeah, you will watch your life shift before you when you live in a spirit of gratitude. Stop being the victim and stop the fight. So here's an interesting thing, and I shared this story the other night. When I was in Italy, I felt like I was being watched. I felt I had a victim mentality, which was the result of me losing my job. Go figure. My attention was so fixated on defending myself, I drew in plenty of attacks to defend myself from. So when you really humbly sit there and go, oh, I wonder why I always have this happen. Well, if your story is it always happens, it will continue to happen. If you start looking at the dialogue you have within your mind, the stories that you tell others, because guess what? Every time you tell a story, you're reliving it physiologically, and you're also setting the vibration in motion for you to continue living it. So if you dislike your story, rewrite your story. Write it the way you wanted it to unfold. Because it's going to change every time you tell the story anyway, right? Right? Yeah, just saying. Just saying. So, you know, that's an interesting thing to point out, Christine. So she says, I think poor Tom's been getting slack because we've been desensitized to the women's naked bodies, but not men's. And you know, that's a beautiful point. That is a very good point. And to be totally honest with you, I personally love to be naked. And so, you know, it's interesting if I post something, people start to think it's compromising who I am. But I'm also very tasteful in my pictures as much as possible. I don't, you know, all of these pictures are tasteful, honestly. They're playful. We're having fun. And sometimes, yes, we're doing it to push your comfort zone, to see if you're valuing us for the content, or if you're looking for something that's wrong with us, so you devalue everything that's valuable within this group. Now think about that for a moment, because there are people out there that will turn around and see. I was talking about this the other night in the journal Hook'em, where if you see someone as a guru and the minute they wrong you, you feel you have, you know, that guru is no longer a guru because they did one wrong thing in their life. We've already told you all of our laundry, our dirty laundry, and we've got more to share. We've both been through experiences. I know for myself, yeah, I smoked pot when I was in high school, you know. I'm not a goody-goody two-shoes. I have had my history. You know, I do admit to the sexual addiction as well, alcoholism, you know, food. I love my food. and I'm still a foodie, and food's my biggest addiction probably than anything else right now. But also because I use it as a way to express myself. And I might not consume as much as I might have in the past, and I've become much more humbled to not reach for something to eat all the time when I have emotional stuff come up. But that is something that happens for me. When I am triggered, I can easily retreat to my kitchen and just use it as my expression. And just focus in on something that is feeling like I'm at least nourishing from some area. So that's what we do when we have emotional dis-ease. Those of you who have food addictions can relate to this. Emotionally, we reach for food because that's the only nourishment we feel that will satiate us. So when we're not having our needs met within, we go without. And that a lot of times can be in the form of food or drugs or drinking or whatever it is. We're looking to feel, right? Because we're not feeling fully everything in our life and we don't go within, we reach with going out to try to find something that will bring sensation, bring those senses back to life. Those 5 senses that I keep reminding you: taste, touch, sight, hearing, feeling. If you don't have those in balance, you're going to constantly reach out for things outside of yourself to stimulate you, to bring sensation back, to feel. This is what addiction is. Addiction is reaching out for something because you're not going within to see what it is that you've numbed within you, what you've suppressed, you've put down, you don't want to look at because you're fearful of yourself, right? So for myself, I truly have been working on this for a long time, and sometimes I'm hearing myself speaking going, wow, I've come so far. I know where I've been, and I appreciate everything along my journey. And that, yes, I want to be naked too. I don't want to have to put on clothes because, as a young girl, I have very prominent nipples. And I can have a conversation with somebody and their eyes are like, And you know what? I've been working on this, and it still bugs me to a slight degree. But before, I was so self-conscious. I'm telling you that a bra doesn't even cover them. So if you see them in these videos and you're offended, I'm so sorry for you. Oh well. But you know what? I embrace and love my body the way it is. I really do. I love myself. I mean, you should be able to touch yourself and feel good about touching yourself. You should be able to look at every part of yourself in the mirror, and I encourage that. If you can't take a mirror, and I'm going to say this, ladies, if you can't put a mirror down below and just go, wow, look at that beautiful, beautiful part of me. That is, it's a flower. It's your grace, your ease, your essence. All of this is you, right? Nipples are great. I love my nipples. I wouldn't trade them for the world. I love every part of my body, and that's what it is all about, embracing who you are, where you're at in this moment. Doesn't matter if you have rolls or I have a little, my butt. I'm going to tell you, my ass. I'm 43. I'm not as active as I used to be, and I have a very high activity as it is. I have a lot of energy, always have. But I had a very perky ass. That's like my trait, right? It was my ass. And so at 43 years old, I'm going, I want my ass. I had an old boyfriend say to me, a few years back, he goes, Lana, what happened to your ass? I was like, what are you saying? I was like, oh, right? And so in all honesty, that was always my favorite feature, and it still is. I love it, even if it's dropped a little bit further south than it used to be, right? It's all perfect. I love everything because I know where I've been. I know how hard I've worked to take care of myself and everything I've done to get to this moment right here in time. And in this moment in time, I can graciously appreciate all that I was born into because I know that is what I was birthed. Why would I... Now, if you believe in a higher power or a creator or whatever you want to believe, why would I ever doubt that I wasn't made perfectly as I am? And poo-poo on the idea that somebody made a mistake. You point out, most people think of God, somebody over you. but it's all embraced in everything that we are. It's God, essence, source, universe is in everything. There is no higher echelon because we're all one, right? We're a part of source, period, right? And so when you embrace all that you are, you're really honoring not just the body, but the Creator, the whole source, and each other for being so perfectly created as you are, right? All you have to do is say chocolate, Anna. I'm serious, right? I love me some chocolate. And I didn't always love chocolate. So I know when I was younger, sugar was a huge addiction because it was easy to reach for something that would make me feel, from that abandonment. I wanted to feel like somebody embracing me. And there's something about sugar, especially, it's the biggest addiction. And they've said it's worse than cocaine, is to get away from the sugar. And it's no wonder, right, that sugar's in everything. Even the stuff you say isn't sweet. They put sugar in everything processed because they know, and they do testing in labs to find out what is addictive, and they put it in the foods, which is why I would prefer it prepared by my own hands. Unless I know the source and the people who are preparing it, that is something precious, is that you are actually attentive and aware and not ignorant of what is being set in front of you. It's a whole ritual. There's a reason why we commune around food, but sometimes we're not necessarily as engaged in the process of it, the actual ceremony and celebration of it all. A lot of times what we do is we just kind of go through the motions, and there's that normalcy again. But you got to step out of the boundaries. You've got to step out of your comfort zone, because you're never going to grow if you just keep it on the way you've been doing, right? Yeah, exactly. Oh, and Annette, that's another thing. So they do specifically and strategically, and this is marketing, they will put things they want to sell on the eye level shelves, which you'll find a lot of the good stuff that you really want to eat is usually above or below, right? But remember one thing, you know what? Here's the people lose sight of things, and they get so caught up in judging themselves and saying, oh, I shouldn't eat this and I shouldn't eat that. But if you're going to cheat, enjoy what you eat. We came to this life to, again, it's going back to feeling. If you can fully appreciate, value, embrace whatever it is you're going to eat and place it in your mouth, really just, if you're going to beat yourself up, it's not going to digest, and you're going to feel worse, not just from the food, but from where it started to begin with, which is the part where you're judging and you're actually criticizing yourself. The best thing you can do is just make it a ritual, that if you're going to cheat, enjoy what you eat, make it the best quality that you can eat it. Like you get the best quality chocolates, which I make my own. So for me, that's the bomb diggity. And I embrace and love that. And I'm getting ready to make some really sweet treats here shortly. I just have to carve a little time and really go within and just close your eyes down. And when you place it in your mouth, before you even do that, I want you to start with breathing in and having that gratitude. That's why people bless their food, is to take the moment to appreciate what is coming in to this temple, what they're going to honor and partake and nourish themselves with, right? Ginger juice is the best way to start. And then I want you to just look at it and appreciate it from your eyes, your sight, and smell it. Digestion starts long before it goes into the mouth. And touch it and feel it, right? And then when you put it in your mouth, take just a small bite. Let it feel those textures, those flavors on your tongue. Move it around in your mouth. Don't just chew it or swallow it, because I watch people sometimes and they'll let it just, and they didn't even have that moment of, what did that even taste like? Slowing down is so much more beneficial, because I guarantee, and it's one of the things I love to do, is when you chew your food till it's water, pay attention from the start to the finish to where it's so liquidy. Notice the flavors change. No matter what you eat, the saliva your salivary glands, the saliva in your mouth will actually change the flavor because you start to create more when you're chewing and it's starting to digest in your mouth. But it will also change the taste. It'll be sweeter, right? And then when it's going down your throat, just enjoy, right? Enjoy it fully. Feel all those flavors. Feel all your senses come alive and breathe with it while you're eating it. And remember, oh my God, this is so good. And keep that gratitude and appreciation. That's going to change the way your body digests it and the experience you have and the mind, right? Because you're not beating yourself up. You're present in the moment, right? Coming back to the moment, coming back to being present, and all that you're doing is going to make every moment to moment momentum that much sweeter, right? Anybody else agree? Has anybody tried that before? I know it's not always easy, but that's a construct of the mind, right? So I'm excited. I have all sorts of goodies in store for y'all. All sorts of nice fun stuff. And I love to chew my food. I like to enjoy every bite. I want to feel it fully. I want to see, because that's the sensuality. And I'm a very sensual person, and I enjoy engaging all of my senses. To me, that's more enjoyable, pleasurable, orgasmic than any intercourse could ever give me. So for me, I just enjoy my life the way it is. Yes, gentle eating. For me, it's sensual. It's engaging all of the senses. That's why the word sensual. It comes from the senses. And when you embrace and engage, right? We're all gods and goddesses living on this earth, right? And so it's like, embrace who you are. You are meant to be. You are meant to be free in your expression and experience in this life without judgment, especially your own, right? Just be present in the moment. That's all you can, and it just takes a moment. It just takes a moment to breathe, right? I'm telling you, just breathing's going to bring you all back to all of your senses and bring you back into the present. Because when you master the breath, you master your mind, you master your life. And let me tell you, you don't need to have some physical, intimate contact with another person to have an ecstatic moment, to have ecstatic breathing, to have ecstatic eating, or ecstatic walking, or standing outside and feeling the wind on you. It's a matter of tapping into your own body's wisdom and recognizing when you're present and when you're in the future and when you're in the past, and how you're showing up for yourself in life. Because how you show up is how life is happening and showing up for you and to you. And that's a mental choice, right? And so, all right, I am drinking my water. So I also tagged on this that I intermittent fast normally. It's still quite early. I normally will just hold off eating anything up until the early afternoon or so. And sometimes it's longer. Sometimes I'll look and go, okay, well, I had little nibbles of stuff or maybe a drink of something else other than water, like at 2 in the afternoon or something. But there are days I also change up my pattern, my routine, just to see. Oh, I drink at least 2 of these, 28 ounces every single morning. And that's just what I drink for the morning. The evenings, it just varies, but I'm drinking water throughout the day. And so like, for example, I was reminding this morning about how when we could eat cooked foods, a lot of people don't realize cooked foods are actually more addictive Because what people don't realize is when you cook food, and we go back to the processed sugar conversation, cooked foods caramelize, create the sugars in the foods. It changes the chemical makeup of the food. That's one aspect, one feature of cooked foods, and why, although you may not want to eat some foods raw because you may get more nutritional value from lightly steaming or lightly cooking to transition some of the phytoenzymes and such, right? The nutrients, so they're more bioavailable. The majority of foods you can eat raw, but sometimes it's a matter of combining them with the proper assimilable or synergistic blend, let's say. For example, spinach and cruciferous vegetables, you would definitely want some form of vitamin C, a lemon juice, for example, freshly squeezed. Things like that. It's just very simple, but we don't all know these little ways that our body can go, oh, hey, that works really well together, right? I personally prefer young spring greens, like a spring mix, because I find that the hardier the greens, the harder to digest. And that's when a lot of people who have different diseases out there don't want to eat the cruciferous mature greens. Things like kale, things like chard, or there's a bunch of stuff out there like that, where if you eat it, it may be higher in the, now I forgot the word, what is it? Because you have to break down the cell membrane, basically, or it needs to be lightly steamed. Even mature spinach. So I like the baby spinach because it seems to be easier to be digested by my body, because that you can masticate, chew until it's water. Whereas I don't know any of y'all out there usually have to take the kale and either massage in some salt and some lemon juice or something to at least soften so you can break through that cell membrane, right? Oxalates they call it oxalates, O-X-Y-C-O, oxalates, I'll write it down later, they can actually cause your body like this block, like won't allow your body to absorb the minerals and the nutrients and it's not healthy. So a lot of people like thyroid, for example, right? Yes, thank you for that, Dawn. I love that. Good morning, Cummins. How are you, gorgeous? I love that. Sensual, sexual. Yes, that's beautiful. Yeah, take a mirror and look at your beautiful vagina. Look below at your precious lady parts, right? I got a big old mirror, so I got full view. And you know what? You need to learn to love sometimes. You have to cultivate that love. And sometimes it's scary. You might giggle. You may have a little fun with it. But you know what? It's all good. When we were little kids, do you remember what it was like? You're like, I'll show you mine if you show me yours. You know, and a lot of us had cousins, and that's how we got to see the other parts, right? Or like in my family, my parents, as God love them, you know, they have their quirks. But I loved and adored my parents to the point where I thought they were the most beautiful. My household was, everybody ran around the house naked. Hence why I have no problem with nudity. It's when it's explicit and it's raunchy and cheesy and trashy that I'm like, okay, you lost me. But I want to be playful. I want to have fun. I want to feel free. I don't want to feel like I have to censor myself. That's not who I am. Censoring yourself is again, it's that polarity. It's going to cause that dis-ease within you, right? Because that you don't feel fully, wholly integrated into living in who you are. Censorship doesn't solve anything for yourself. Now, the other expressions, those are clearly looking for attention. And you know, sometimes when we post something, maybe it is looking for attention, but it's mostly the type of attention that's going to allow you to look at yourself and grow. Because if you're judging something, remember those 3 fingers pointing back. If you're judging someone else or something else, it's because of something else within you have not embraced, and you dislike within yourself, right? So if in order to accept others, you need to accept yourself. And everybody has their right to be accepted. They deserve to be accepted and loved. And most of the times we're looking at this facade. We're not looking at the soul, the person. We're all truly lovable. Every single one of us, right? Ooh, I love that. You love to shake the booty. Oh my gosh, I got some stories about booty shaking in my house. That's how we are in my family. I used to look at my parents and go, wow, how attractive are my parents? My parents were gorgeous. My mother and my father had gorgeous bodies. I admired them. You know, I mean, it's I think it's very normal as women, you know, when we're young and our little girls. I don't know, maybe not everybody, and I can't speak for anybody but myself, but of course, how do you think we come up with this idea that I want a man that's like my dad? Not always healthy, I'm saying, but I mean in the sense that it kind of sets the bar for attraction. You look for someone who somewhat resembles that someone you loved or love, right? So, yeah, booty stories. I got some goodie. My sisters and I, we used to have this little, we still do. Do the booty dance, do the booty dance, do the booty dance. Because that's our favorite feature. It's a Levante trait, just saying. So my booty might not be up where it was when a couple years back, but I still love my own booty. Hey, I love me. And nobody has to embrace me but me. If you like me, you like me. If you don't, you don't. It's all good. And it's none of my business. If you don't like me, I don't want to know. If you do, you can tell me too. Yeah. Because when you give your power away to someone else caring about you, you can't be whole. You're disconnected. You've given your power away. Take back your power and you be you, loving you as you are. Okay, so good booty exercises I do. I used to teach aerobics. I used to teach kickboxing. Squats is always a good one. Squats is always good. Another thing, see, and I used to, and I've also done like the Pilates and the Lottie Burke method and all that stuff, right? Oh, I love you too, Jeanette. I appreciate you too so much. So like, okay, I'm in this t-shirt, but you can just stand with your legs together, and like if you're doing dishes or you're doing something, you can just lift your leg out to the side. You're gonna get the side lifted. You're gonna get the little dimple, but then you can go back. But make sure your pelvis stays forward, so you don't have to lift far, because you're gonna use and engage those muscles, right? Right? I gotta do a handstand to recognize my naked body anymore. I love that. Oh my God, I love you, Christine. You have such a great humor. That's funny. Funny. I love it. Okay, yeah. So we gotta do what we gotta do. However it works. I'm serious. Sometimes I like to do that too. I'll go do a handstand and see how I look upside down. Right? Hey, you gotta do what works. I like it. And so, yeah, squats, you just want to make sure, especially, knees are always over the ankles. You don't want your knees to jut forward. Like some people will do like these type of squats. You're going to actually hurt your knees. You're not going to get it in the booty. It's like people are afraid to engage their butts. Like, it's okay. You can squeeze that butt. I power walk. That's one of my favorite things to do, is just to walk, because I used to be a runner. So my moving meditation was running, and it was with the chanting, the cadence of my breath. It was, and of course, in longer strides with the arms and the legs, because when you extend your arms, you actually extend your gait. Your leg comes up higher and longer, and you get a longer stride, right? So when you power walk, you take, again, the same thing like walking. You want your arms to extend out. You'll get a longer foot length, a longer stride, and you squeeze as you push off the back leg, right? But you also want to press into the front leg at the same time. So it's like you get this whole, and you walk heel to toe. Push off the toe ball mound when you come forward off that back leg, right? And you can actually you can teeter-totter like this too. If you don't have time to go for a walk, you can teeter-totter. So I think I put out the poll the other day. I didn't see anybody respond. if you're interested in fitness tips from me and Tom, let us know, because we'll do videos doing that. That'd be fun. That'd be rad, wouldn't it? Me and Tom showing you some squats and stuff like that. We may be naked, we may not be. You just never know, and I'm cleaning as I go. This is one of my things. So sometimes I'll just be like, just keep on talking to me. I'll just, do things as I see them, because I like to do things as I see they need to be done. It's so funny. But anyway, yeah. Keep your knees back. You know what? It's balancing. So you want it. For a truly good squat, your feet are going to be slightly wider than hip distance apart. So here are my hips, or you can even have them under your hips. It just depends on how low you can go. I can go down into a yogic squat and just sit there for a while if I want, because it feels good, and it's good on the digestion, because whenever you bring the leg in, right, you're actually going to squeeze in on the colon, right? So when you go into a squat, just press the butt back, keep the chest lifted, hips square. Your toes too will lift. I lift my toes. That's how I know I'm aligned properly. So your toes will just slightly lift, and you want to make sure that your feet are completely grounded into the floor. You feel all four corners of your feet down into the floor. The only thing that's lifting, really, when you're pressing through the toe ball mound and the sides of the feet, and so you feel like a suction of your feet into the earth. You lift the toes just standing, and then you go down. And you can, you know what? If it's too hard, you can use something like a chair and just sit back. I'm making all sorts of little crinkly noises here. And when you go down, you're engaging your thighs, and squeeze in too. Squeeze in together, right? And then squeeze the butt up. And then there's another one, there's where you can actually do jumping squats, and you jump when you come up. So it's like, I know I got a fan above my head. I should be okay. Should be okay. If I hit my head, just, don't worry. I'll be fine. I've survived this long. I think I'll make it. So, like, you can either put the hands, or what I like to do when I do my squats is I reach my hands out, and as I go down and come up, I squeeze in. Like I said, I squeeze in the midline. The thighs come in together. I squeeze my buttocks forward, and I bring my fists back like a pump. Like, yeah. 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 Because you got to make it fun. You got to be playful, right? Might be doing more squats later on. Work on my booty. But I tell you what works really well for me too is when I go swimming. I love to play. I will do all of my little mermaid tricks, and I'll swirl around, and I'll do the leg lifts in the water, because it just feels so good and fluid in the water to feel that water movement around me. So that's one of my favorite things to do. And I don't like to always get out of the water, and that's really cold, which, as long as I warm up after a certain point, cold water therapy is super good for you too. As well as taking a cold shower in the morning. Super healing, because what it does is it brings the blood vessels, and the oxygen gets closer in, that you can absorb the oxygen in to heal. That's why, again, the intermittent fasting, the cold water therapy, the drinking lots of water, the hydration. There's so many different things. You can do body brushing as well, is really good for you. I also, first thing in the morning, I brush the back of my throat. It's called cleaning out the monkey glands in yogic Ayurvedic terms, right? So you take, and I use a little bit of alum, right? Potash, I think, is another name for it. And it's very, what's the word? It's got a funky flavor, but it basically creates the saliva in your mouth. If you haven't shared this video, please share the video, just in case. Sharing's caring. You never know whose life you're going to touch. You go around the inside, and I just use it all along in my mouth, because I'd already brushed my teeth at night, and I have a charcoal. Oh, thank you, Cummins. I use a charcoal paste that I made in the evening, and in the morning I do the monkey glands, because we always have a little bit of phlegm, and there's usually 3 phlegm globules you've got to get out of the back of your throat in the morning. And typically while I'm doing this, it sounds like I'm gagging because you want to make yourself gag. I've never had any food disorders because as far as like bulimia or anorexia, because I just like food too much and I don't like it coming back up. So here I am, the back of my throat, just brushing. It doesn't feel the best, but it's enough to get the monkey glands cleaned up and those phlegm globules out. Sometimes it takes a little longer for me to get all 3 of them, and sometimes there's not much in there. And so, and it'll come up and you spit that into the sink. And you can also Ayurvedic oil pull, which I do too. And sometimes I'll do that at night with the paste that I use as well, because it becomes liquidy. And so I get the 3 phlegm globules out, and Yogi Bhajan always said that you want to make the eyes water. You've got to do it to the point where it makes your eyes water, because you're clearing out the tear ducts as well at the same time. And then I also will just whatever comes up, because it all, for me, brings up phlegm that's also in the back of my nose. So I'm like clearing out my nose too. And if you're somebody who does, and I have one of these, I'll show you this. You can do the neti pot as well, right? So if you need a neti, I'm kind of funny. I'll sniff water because I'm lazy and I don't always use this. And you put it up in one nose and it comes down the other. So you can do that first thing in the morning too. And especially if you have something like you're getting sick, you should be doing this. Just a little salt, warm water, enough that if you put your pinky in, it's not gonna scorch you, because you want it to be really warm, but not to the point where it's gonna burn your navel cavity, right? So that's the neti pot. I'm just lazy about it, and I just do it in the shower, because when I do the warm showers, hotter, because I know there's stuff up in there that can be cleared up, because you're breathing in all sorts of junk, so it's not necessarily going to come from your food. And so that's a little bit of my morning routine. And going back to the intermittent fasting. So last night I had brewed up some of the kombucha. I did the white tea. If y'all didn't see that 3-hour video, I did my white tea blend. And then I added, that's so funny, isn't it? Timing is everything, right? And I'm telling you, food... a lot of allergies are going to start with our food. That's what I learned, because for years I had like the brain fog and the stuffy nose and a little drip in the back of my throat, which my mom said I always had this little tick because of the drainage. And I guarantee you now I've learned it was the gluten, it was the dairy, it was the sugars, the refined sugars, because that's the only time I ever notice when I have it. And I stay away from soy for a lot of reasons, and soy will give me some of the same symptoms of inflammation and especially here. Right, Shay? So intermittent fasting works so well for me. I don't always work. If I get into the habit of eating though, I wake up in the morning hungry. But when I'm intermittent fasting, and as long as I'm hydrating and drinking water, I seem to be all right. Now, if I'm doing supplements in the morning beforehand, and I change something up, and it's something that makes me a little jittery, then I have to introduce some food, or I drink a whole lot more water. So true fasting is not really taking anything. So if you ever do a water fast, it's just water. That means you stop all your supplements, okay? In my version of intermittent fasting, I do my morning supplements. And so remember something though, whatever your body does not use, you piss it out, you pee, okay? So you're gonna notice what your body is using and isn't. And so I try to reduce the amount of the supplement I take in the morning, specifically knowing that I'd rather take less because my body's not gonna use it all at once. Thank you, Cheryl. Just sharing all of my years of research and delving into things. I'm like a sponge and I love to absorb all this information. I must have done something on my ankle last night. I don't know what I did. And who was it that asked me about the brownie? Yes, I slept like a baby. I was out. I don't snore, but I was out. So last night I made up the tea, and I have 2 big jars of it. And this morning I was adding thank you, Jerome. I appreciate that. I added some Ayurvedic herbs to it. So what I like to do is make these like tea tinctures. And I don't know if I'm going to have anything to eat just yet, because I am going to run out. I'm going to possibly have a little surprise for you later. We'll see how that works out, because it wouldn't be a surprise if I told you what it was. Yeah, vitamin B12, I definitely do that. I do MSM. I'll tell you what, if you're all truly interested, I can definitely do up a list of all the supplements, and Tom and I will post what we use in the mornings. I like to use MSM. I definitely supplement with magnesium, because magnesium is one of the minerals that we're all deficient and depleted of. I've started adding a little potassium again this morning, K2, D2, some vitamin C in the form of rosehip powder, right? Magnesium is one of the, I'm telling you, because especially for me, it relaxes you. Oh, thank you, Anna. We will do that. Definitely. I have to have magnesium because it's good for relaxing the muscles. It relaxes your mind, calms you. You know, a lot of us are in fight or flight all the time. So if you're waxing stress over here, your adrenals are overtaxed, you need the magnesium to settle you, right? It helps you sleep better at night. If you're not sleeping well at night, I guarantee you're deficient in magnesium. So magnesium is a biggie. B12. I have a couple supplements that I get at a local place here. Yeah. Aw, thank you so much, Jeanette. And it really starts in the mind, right? Yeah, gosh, I think it's chelate. And even then, I don't even think it's that. I have to look it up real quick, because I also do a topical. I do a topical magnesium spray that you get the flakes, and what's the word? It's transdermal is the word, because your blood, so your skin is your largest living, breathing organ. Your largest living, breathing organ is your skin. You want to put on your skin whatever you would eat. It enters the bloodstream within something like 26 seconds or something crazy like that, right? And so when you put it transdermally, especially on these areas that are pain, like my back has a little tweak right now in between my shoulder blades, and you put transdermal, it goes directly into that area. That's why it's great to do Epsom salt baths, because your body's only going to absorb as much as it needs. And then you don't have to worry about putting too much in and getting nauseous or going to the bathroom a little too much, because if things aren't moving down there and you're doing a supplement like a slow release versus like a magnesium drinks, there's a lot of those out there. And I'll post the one that I like. I actually have a few links for that for you. The one that I do have, I'm kind of on the fence about. It is chelated, and so some people don't, chelated is really how it's pronounced. So, and yes, nerve damage too, right? And I had a huge problem with nerve damage and pain all along my left side, down my arm, when I had hit my head in someone's car back when I lived in Italy in 2007. I whacked my head on what we used to call the oh shit grips, because it was hanging down, and I kind of got in the car, and it just sent this shock of pain, because what happened, and I didn't know, is I had so much degeneration in between my cervical joints, my cervical spine area, and I have bulging discs. They tell me all this stuff, and I'm like, well, you know what, I'm working on healing it through the yoga, through the meditation, the breathing, the food, all of it. And I know it's a lot of this, right? So I didn't speak my truth enough. I didn't value myself. It wasn't expressing myself. That's the throat chakra, your truth, your expression, right? Yeah, you could put it in the jacuzzi too. Yeah. Oils and things like that, worth filling it up. Yeah. I would just stick with the salt, like Epsom salt, personally. That's all you really need. I do go to a chiropractor who's amazing here locally, and he works with kinesiology, so that's helped a lot. Turmeric is another thing that I do. I have a liver detox that I do in the morning too, and I have another one that's also a toxic, not a toxic. It's a cleansing tonic. It's basically a supplement as well. And then I have something called isotal, which helps synergize with the B12. There's other things you can take. I have acetaxin and things like that in the refrigerator, but I don't always take everything all the time. And like I said, I do these Ayurvedic blends because they tonify. You don't always need supplements. Sometimes it could be just something as simple as what you put in your food, right? Like the ashwagandha, like the gotu kola, like the brahmi, or the birengage, or somebody mentioned passion flower, which I don't know. I don't work with that as much, but I know that you can do a little too much of certain things, and that might be one of the things that in my mind I might have been avoiding. This has gynostema, horsetail, nettles. It has ashwagandha. I put some of Tom's beautiful Kauai Pharmacy, the cacao elena in it, which has turmeric in it. I put some of the Mucuna pruriens. I put a little bit of almond extract and vanilla extract in it. I didn't put, but I should have put, I love this Myco Force Immunity stuff. I love mushrooms. Mushrooms are amazing. Yeah, and vitamin C is so good for you in the form. I like the rose hip. And the reason I use the rose hip is because as much as I love citrus, which they're in season now, I have to pick up, I'm going to have to get some oranges. I do a lot of fresh squeezed orange juice when citrus is in, and a lot of times that'll be my breakfast. And sometimes that's during the time when I would normally intermittent fast. But I do more intermittent fasting in the summertime. And then when it starts to get a little colder, I will shift that. And so, yeah, when I later, like as we're getting a little colder and I'll be going to winter solstice, I will be having breakfast. I will be eating the warm yumminess that they provide us there. OMG, the food at solstice. Bomb diggity. I guess I could put this in a glass, but I'm just going to drink it out of the bottle. Everybody say good morning to Tom. I don't think he's on the toilet. This needs a little something in it, but it's very simple. It needs more of the, actually, I put fennel seed in it, like the fennel, so it gives it that kind of like anisette flavor to it. And Jeanette, did you watch last night? Because I made kombucha on my 3-hour video. Yeah. I did that last night. I shared all of that, and my baby booch and things. Trying to think. I need the funnel for those. I need to put more fennel. I need the funnel to put the fennel in my tincture. So, what do y'all have planned for this gorgeous day? I actually am going to sign off. I just wanted to share all that beautiful juiciness with y'all, because we have a lot of goodies in store today. We're gonna get stuff done today. I caught Buddy up on the couch this morning. He's one smart dog. I'm telling you, but it always humbles me, because then I have to say, you know what? It just shows how intelligent the owner is, because the animal learns. You know that the animal knows better, because they look at you like, oh, I'm in trouble, aren't I? And he did, and he's so cute about it. I'm like, I still love you, but you gotta stay off the couch, buddy. There's nothing poor about Buddy. He's got a good life. He is loved, and he's definitely enhancing mine. So he definitely brings joy to me because he's so adorable. And if you watch the video I did last night when he came in the kitchen, he actually jumped up the way my Angel used to. Because when he jumps up at Tom, he jumps up, right? And I get a little bit concerned because he's going to knock me over. He's a little bit stronger than Angel was. And Angel was a strong kitty, strong doggy. I just read your kitty there. And so he sat really pretty, and I put my paw in my hands and said, up, and he got up and he put his paws right on my lap, and it was so sweet. I was like, look, he did exactly what I was hoping I could train him to do. So yeah, he's got beautiful eyes. Angel was part husky, so she had a partially blue eye and a partially brown eye. Buddy's got golden eyes, and Angel was more the dark nose, and because she was husky lab mixed, her palette was striped. She had black and pink. And her left eye, when you're looking at her, her right eye actually was white with the little blue, like a husky. And then the other one was brown. And then people used to always ask me, is she blind in that eye? And I'm like, oh no, trust me, she's not blind. And she did this little floppy thing. She always had the listening ear and the flopped ear. Like, I'm attentive over here. So, yeah, animals are definitely our little angels. Yeah. Sounds like fun, Amanda. Woo woo. So I'm going to just sign off here. If you haven't already introduced yourself in the group, get your butt over there. Post a rad photo of yourself. I want to learn about you. Go live. Please go live, because we want to see you. We want to hear you, get to know you, feel your flavors through this virtual reality, which I am adoring each and every one of you. And remember, if you want to win that rad juicer, you only got a few more days. And all you have to do is just spread the love and invite all your friends. 200 or more. Just go for it. Because you know sharing is caring. And it isn't going to hurt anybody just to touch of the button. If anything, you might inspire someone. Somebody you didn't expect. And you're going to add value, because this is your community, your playground. You're adding value to someone else's life, and you're never going to know it, but that's how you're serving, right? You being you, you showing up for you, and you actually sharing you. That's how we grow. So keep it raw, stay rad. What?